If you're not your thoughts, who's thinking them? Buddhism's answer. Chapter 1: The Mystery of Thoughts and Thinking. Have you ever noticed how thoughts seem to arise out of nowhere, like uninvited guests crashing a party? One moment you're focused, and the next, you're planning dinner, replaying an old argument, or worrying about a future event. It raises intriguing questions. Where do these thoughts come from, and who is truly doing the thinking? If it's not you, then who? This is a universal experience. You might be washing the dishes, driving, or gazing out the window when suddenly, a thought appears, unbidden, unplanned. It's not a mental glitch, it's simply the natural state of an untrained mind. Buddhism sheds light on this phenomenon through the concept of dependent origination, pratitya samutpada. A fundamental teaching that explains how every experience and thought arises due to interconnected causes and conditions. Even if we're not fully aware of these triggers, they could be sensations, feelings, memories, an intricate network that unfolds one step at a time. Curious about how this works? Try this. For 10 seconds, attempt to predict your next thought. Close your eyes and focus. Were you successful? Likely not. In fact, even the act of trying altered the conditions entirely. This simple exercise embodies a central Buddhist understanding, the absence of a permanent, controlling self, known as anatta. The Buddha discovered this truth during deep meditation under the Bodhi tree, observing his own mind with remarkable clarity. As documented in texts like the Majjhima Nikaya, he saw thoughts arising and dissolving like ripples on water, fleeting and impermanent, with no enduring agent pulling the strings. This restless mental chatter, often termed the monkey mind by Buddhists, perpetually leaps from one idea to another. Think about your own mental patterns: planning. What's for dinner? Remembering. Did I lock the door? Judging. They shouldn't have said that. Or worrying. What if I fail? Just recognizing these tendencies is a profound first step. While the constant flux of thoughts can feel overwhelming, it also reveals something deeper about our minds, a tendency to identify with the process of thinking as though there's a fixed I behind it all. But what if that I is simply another passing thought? What if the self you perceive is just a part of the stream and not separate from it? Imagine your thoughts as a flowing river, always in motion, never stagnant. The water changes constantly, as do its currents, mirroring the transient nature of thoughts. One thought spawns another. Work-related concerns trigger worry about deadlines, which resurface past mistakes, spiraling into anxiety. This cycle vividly demonstrates cause and effect in action. Trying to control or suppress this flow is like attempting to stop a river with your bare hands. It leads to turbulence. The harder you strive for control, the more chaotic things become. Instead, what if you simply observed the current without resistance? This approach lies at the heart of mindfulness, sati. Buddhist teachings such as the Satipatthana Sutta offer guidance on cultivating non-judgmental awareness, being present with each moment without clinging to or rejecting thoughts. When you observe your mind without judgment or attachment to its narratives, something transformative happens. A small gap begins to form, a space where you recognize that you are not your thoughts but the awareness observing them. This insight isn't purely esoteric, modern science backs its value. Research by figures like Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn, pioneer of mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, shows that practicing mindfulness can rewire your brain, reducing stress and enhancing focus. It physically creates distance between you and reactive mental patterns. Why not give it a try right now? Take 10 seconds to simply observe your thoughts as they arise. Don't judge or try to change them. Imagine them as clouds drifting through the sky. Did you notice anything different? Perhaps a subtle stillness or an expanded sense of space. That's the beginning of freedom, the quiet power of bare observation at work. Chapter 2, The Empty Center, Looking for the Thinker. There's a common assumption that a distinct thinker exists behind our thoughts, a separate self that orchestrates and controls them. But if our thoughts are not part of a fixed self, if they simply arise and dissolve, then what are we? This inquiry leads us to search for the supposed owner of all this mental activity. It's a natural question, one that the Buddha himself explored. It's akin to the feeling of, someone must be home, within us, an impression that there must be an entity behind the creation and direction of these thoughts. The teachings of the Buddha, particularly his doctrine of anatta or no self, challenge this deeply ingrained belief. This perspective isn't about denying our experience but about scrutinizing it more closely. Consider trying a simple experiment. Pause for a moment and look for the thinker behind your thoughts. Don't analyze, just observe. What do you actually find? Did you uncover anything solid or permanent that feels like a thinker, or something entirely different? Searching for the self supposedly controlling our thinking often leads to an unexpected revelation, its apparent absence. Rather than diving into abstract concepts, the Buddha presented a practical way to explore human experience. He characterized it as consisting of 5 aggregates, known as panchakhanda: physical form, rupa, feelings, vedana, perceptions, sana, mental formations, sakkhara, and consciousness, vaya. Everything we perceive and experience can be categorized into one or more of these aggregates. Among them, mental formations encapsulate intentions, habits, volitions, and thoughts. The Buddha's teachings on anatta are striking in their clarity. He expressed directly, "This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself," referring to each of these aggregates. He encourages us to examine them deeply to see if any genuinely reflect a permanent, unchanging self. A compelling account is that of a monk named Kamaka, who rigorously explored this teaching by investigating each of the 5 aggregates. He examined his body, feelings, perceptions, thoughts, and awareness, but found no permanent self in any of them. He eventually realized that even the sense of, "I am thinking," was not evidence of a thinker but simply another mental formation, a sakkhara. This insight brought him incredible peace and liberation. The story of Kema offers another poignant example. Before becoming a nun, Kema was celebrated for her beauty as a queen. Her husband, King Bimbisara, knowing her attachment to appearance, arranged for her to visit the monastery, where the Buddha conjured an ethereal vision of an even more stunning woman whose beauty rapidly faded with age before her eyes. This striking demonstration of impermanence catalyzed deep insight for Kema, ultimately inspiring her transformation into a wise and respected nun. Shifting our perspective in this way, transitioning from seeing thoughts as a mine to recognizing them as part of natural processes, can feel unsettling at first. If there's no self controlling our thoughts, then what does this mean? It means that thoughts arise naturally and spontaneously as a result of conditions. It is an application of dependent origination to our thinking process. The Buddha illustrated this through a farmer analogy. Just as seeds planted in soil sprout when watered under the right conditions, thoughts arise from past actions, intentions, and experiences when nurtured by present circumstances. Thinking doesn't require the oversight of a separate self. Instead, it emerges through the interplay of causes and conditions, a mechanism not reliant on permanence or control. This understanding introduces an element of freedom and lightness. By recognizing this principle, we reduce the clinging and attachment that often breed dissatisfaction and mental suffering. Chapter 3: The Clear Awareness Behind Thinking. Beyond the constant stream of thoughts lies something deeper, a simple yet profound ability to know. This awareness, the foundation of all experience, serves as a silent witness to everything that arises and fades. Unlike fleeting thoughts, it forms the backdrop for them, an ever-present context. It's not about learning something new, it's about rediscovering a capacity innate within each of us. The Buddha highlighted the significance of mindfulness, or sati, a non-judgmental awareness of what unfolds in the present moment. Anuruddha, a monk seeking to refine his meditation, faced challenges with distraction. The Buddha advised him to observe his thoughts and sensations mindfully as they appeared and disappeared, rather than becoming entangled in them. By persisting in this practice, Anuruddha cultivated unwavering clarity and discovered profound peace within himself, gaining insight into the mind's incredible potency. His journey mirrors a universal potential that even modern neuroscience recognizes: the brain's intrinsic ability to self-observe, an essential facet of consciousness. Consider moments free from interference by mental reflections, a quiet pause between breaths, a contemplative stillness, or deep absorption in something meaningful. In such instances, we catch glimpses of inner spaciousness. The Buddha invited practitioners to explore jhana, states of deep meditative absorption that harmonize and calm the mind. These moments of clarity awaken us to the expansive nature of awareness. Like an endless sky untouched by passing clouds, awareness remains unaffected by fleeting thoughts, emotions, or sensations. This space offers liberation from the turbulence of mental activity. Yet this spaciousness isn't passive, it carries a quality of equanimity, or upekkha. This balanced presence refrains from grasping or rejecting what arises, fostering stability and calm. As one of the four sublime states, Brahmaviharas, equanimity was a cornerstone of liberation taught by the Buddha. Interestingly, contemporary studies reveal how cultivating this quality reshapes brain patterns, diminishing emotional reactivity and enhancing inner equilibrium. Such practice reframes how we relate to thoughts, allowing for freedom and peace not by silencing them, but by shifting our perspective toward them. In essence, this awareness invites us to engage the world, and ourselves, with balance and understanding, transforming not just the mind but how we live with it. Chapter 4: Living with this understanding. How can we bring this understanding of the thought process into our daily lives? It starts with cultivating a wiser, more mindful relationship with our thinking, approaching it with curiosity and engagement rather than constant struggle. The Buddha never advocated for the complete elimination of thoughts. He recognized thinking as a necessary and valuable tool that helps us plan, learn, create, and navigate the world. However, the key lies in using thoughts skillfully without being overwhelmed or controlled by them. The teaching of Yoniso Manasikara, wise attention, guides us to pay attention in ways that lead to clarity and liberation rather than confusion and suffering. Take, for example, the story of Angulimala, a notorious criminal whose life was transformed after meeting the Buddha. He didn't erase his past but learned to recognize the harmful patterns in his mind. Under the Buddha's guidance, he cultivated compassion and wisdom, choosing to respond differently to his inner impulses. This teaching resonates with our everyday challenges. Consider a situation like solving a difficult math problem. From a Buddhist perspective, thinking in this case is simply mental formations arising based on conditions, the intention to find a solution, a volition or sankhara, memories of past problems, and new ideas all come together in the field of your awareness. These mental formations shift and interact dynamically. Practicing mindfulness means staying aware of this process without becoming entangled or identified with it. Here's how this might look in practice. 1. Intention. Setting the stage. Begin with a clear intention: I want to understand and solve this problem. This directs your mental energy toward the task at hand. 2. Observation. Mindful engagement. As you work, mindfully observe the thoughts, strategies, and feelings that arise. Notice the frustration, dead ends, and moments of insight without judgment. 3. Space. creating room instead of forcing a solution, create space for clarity to emerge. Take a break, step outside, or breathe deeply. This isn't procrastination, it's allowing flexibility for fresh connections to form. For equanimity, staying balanced, maintain balance by understanding that solutions can take time. Stay present with the process and avoid attachment to immediate results. 5. Insight, allowing for emergence. When insight arises, welcome it without clinging or fixating. This openness allows it to unfold fully and naturally integrate into your understanding. The Buddha illustrated this concept beautifully in the Alagaddapama Sutta with the parable of the raft. A raft helps you cross a river, but once you've reached the other shore, you don't carry it around with you anymore. Similarly, thoughts are tools we use as needed, but we need not cling to every idea or belief that arises. Recognizing when thinking is helpful versus when it causes unnecessary strain or frustration is central to this middle way. Balancing between suppressing thoughts and being consumed by them. We can start practicing this awareness in small but impactful ways. For instance, when feeling stressed, take a few mindful breaths while observing bodily sensations without judgment. When overwhelmed by emotions or racing thoughts, root yourself in the awareness that holds these experiences. It's a refuge that is always present. Over time, such simple practices can lead to profound shifts, helping us live more fully in the moment. This brings us back to a powerful question: if you're not your thoughts, then who is thinking them? The ultimate response transcends intellectual answers. It points to direct experience, a clarity beyond mental concepts or labels. In the Culamalankya Sutta, when asked metaphysical questions about existence and selfhood, the Buddha responded with noble silence, emphasizing that freedom comes not through conceptual answers but through direct understanding. True liberation isn't about constructing a new sense of self but about seeing how even the question itself dissolves when approached with clear awareness. In this dissolution lies the greatest freedom, the experience of being fully present with life as it is.